I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for the Roundup gang, I can tell you I don't have them. But what I do have is a very particular set of skills. Skills I have learned at Pizza Planet.
Save me.
If you let Woody go now, that'll be the end of it. I won't look for you. I won't pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. And I will find you. And I will stun you with my laser.
This week we ask, is Toy Story 2 a good movie? Welcome back to our podcast where every week we are on the quest to curate the best movie collection. In a time where your favorite movies are constantly fluctuating through multiple streaming services, it is important to decide which movie has earned a spot in the collection. So join us every week as we ask the question, but is it a good movie? And I'm your host, Ish, and with me is my co-host, Nick.
That's me.
And we have two very special guests. First off, we have Mia.
Hi, I'm Mia.
And we have the ever-lovely Nadia.
Howdy, it's Nadia.
Yeah, Nadia is, she created our intro. So that's very special to have her on finally.
Heck yeah.
So this week we're talking about Toy Story 2.
A masterpiece.
Truly.
Debatable. It's a 1999 movie, also created by the ever controversial Lasseter.
Oh, good old Lasseter.
So last week, you guys, Nick and I talked about if we had any toys as children that we related to as much as Andy has like Woody and Buzz. So I want to ask you guys, do you guys have any toys that you remember that you liked a lot as a kid?
Truly, I kind of moved through toys quite a bit, but I did actually have a Jessie doll that I loved very, very much. It was a Barbie.
Jessie has a Barbie?
Yeah.
That's like when two worlds collide right
Yeah.
there.
I have to see if, I'll find pictures of it.
What about you,
That's
Mia?
sick. That Jessie doll is sick. I didn't know they made a Barbie Jessie doll.
They do.
I saw the one scene in Toy Story 2 where Jessie's kind of like being held by her owner. What's her name? Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're in a circle, and I actually had a stuffed rabbit with like really long arms and legs, and I would do the same thing where I would just hold her and like go in little circles.
Aww.
That's adorable.
No action figures?
Just plushies.
Okay.
I had action figures.
I did
Nice.
have Barbie dolls.
Are Barbie dolls considered action?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because they like have moving parts.
They have
That's
kung
the
fu
action
grip.
parts of them. Also, they like have their hands out like they're doing karate chops all the time. So I always feel like they could substitute for some kind of action.
I feel like the only Barbie dolls I ever played with ended up not having necks. And do you know why? Have you ever like taken the head off a Barbie doll?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, so once you break the seal and you try to put the head back on, it just sinks in. It doesn't stand at the top.
That's it. It like pops. Yeah, there's like it's almost like
Like a
a
little.
notch that like once you kind of pull it off and try to like put it back in, that hole is like already stretched out.
Once you stretch that girl out, she ain't going back.
Going back.
I just want to talk about some wholesome Toy Story 2. Okay.
Some wholesome Barbie dolls.
Some holes.
No, I don't want to talk about any holes, but especially with Barbie.
No. I don't know. I feel like it's well known that I am not a big fan of Toy Story 2.
Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
So I did give this movie 2 watches. I had to give it a fair shot. Because the first time I was watching it, I wasn't feeling it. Watching it a second time, I enjoyed it a lot more. But I have a lot of gripes with the movie.
And I want to know them.
Okay.
I want to know them. But
So
can we talk about what you liked from the movie first? We start with the good and then go to the bad.
you want to start with the good?
Because I feel like we could go a little bit longer on the good.
Okay.
At least for us.
Okay, so what I did enjoy about the movie is I do like the Operation Save Woody.
Mm-hmm.
I like when Slinky and Mr. Potato Head, Rex and Buzz and Ham, of course, they're on like their way to rescue Woody. I thought every time the movie cut back to that, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I definitely like that. It feels kind of like a subplot, but also like main plot at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of like when like you cut between like two different like
Uh-huh.
stories in like a TV show.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that might. Oh, and I like the opening.
You like the opening?
Yeah, let's talk about the opening first because it's such. I don't know if it's even like considered a cold opening.
Oh, it's such a good opening.
It is. It's like
Yeah.
so memorable.
Yeah.
I just always will remember it.
You know what I don't like about it is okay. So I like the opening.
I like
But-
the opening.
I don't like how it's supposed to be a video game, right?
Yeah.
But why are they still toys in this video game instead of just being like the actual versions of them? Because if you look at Zurg and Buzz, they still have like their joints and they have like their branding on their butt.
I think that's how the actual video game for Toy Story is. Like they still look like toys and stuff.
But wouldn't it be based off of like Buzz Lightyear of Star Command?
Well, I mean, the real point is just to sell toys, is it not? So might as well make them look exactly like the product you want to buy.
Can't agree with that.
Did Buzz Lightyear Star Command come out before Toy Story 2 or after? Because if it came out before, then I could see your point. But if it came out after, then they only had one source material to go off of, which is Toy Story 1.
You know, that's a good point. I am not entirely sure.
But I also feel like because a lot of people don't watch the alternate media for certain like movies and TV shows, that just kind of keeping it consistent from one movie to another to make it look alike.
Came out the year after.
Yeah, after. So yeah, see, they only had one source material to go after. So that's probably why he looks like a toy.
Yeah, okay.
Boom, roasted.
What I do enjoy about it is I like when Buzz lands on the planet, and he's like looking around and he beeps in and he's like, "There's no signs of intelligent life," and it like spaces out and he's just surrounded by robots.
Yeah.
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 And I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
I like a lot of the callbacks to Toy Story 1 with Buzz a lot.
in that opening scene.
Yeah, because like when he's doing that, it's like the same view that
Mhm.
like Toy Story 1 is when he first gets on Andy's bed, where like
Yeah.
you see like his reflection in the visor and stuff like that.
You know what that had? Like the whole opening had so many references to Star Wars.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane how many references there are. Just like when you first see his visor and all reflections, and he has a Darth Vader breathing.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on any of those.
No.
I'm not a Star Wars fan, so
Also, when he like goes against that rock and then the robot eye pops up, that's like in Jabba the Hutt's palace.
Mhm.
It's just like
Yeah.
full of Star Wars references.
totally, guys.
He totally knows.
Yeah, I totally know. Yeah,
Oh,
Jabba the
yeah.
Hutt.
Me
But-
too.
But right from like that opening, I would say is one of my top tier moments in Toy Story 2.
I have to agree. That's probably like, I don't know. I could probably just watch that and be like, I'm pretty satisfied.
I feel like so in general, like you basically remember the like beginning and the end of like something. It's just kind of how the brain works. So those are the things that you kind of focus on. So if this movie had like such a good hook,
Mm-hmm.
then you tend to remember more of it. And I think that's what this movie did for me anyway. Because like it had such a good hook where I was so invested into it that everything else in between just became so much more memorable.
I can see that. It's funny because like rewatching this, I actually forgot that's the opening. I thought that was like a extra credit scene or something.
I also forgot that was the opening. And it was super jarring to me when like Buzz just got like destroyed. I'm like,
yeah.
is that it? Is it over?
Because he's just like a charred little thing.
Yeah, he just falls to his knees.
I mean, it's kind of jarring for a kids movie.
You're like, oh shit, Buzz Lightyear's dead.
Yeah. I do like how Rex is like, how can I shoot and jump at the same time?
With his arms.
With his tiny little arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like the beginning. The set pieces in Toy Story 2, I think are like mint. They're perfect. Because in Toy Story 1, we have Andy's house,
Uh-huh.
and then we have Pizza Planet,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have Sid's house, are like the main set pieces.
Yeah.
And then I guess the road.
Yeah.
But I like how we go from like almost like Andy's house, then the yard sale is its own like area,
Mm-hmm.
to then like Al's entire like apartment and stuff like that, and then we go to the airport. So I think Toy Story 2 had better set areas.
Okay, can I give you a hot take?
You're
So-
gonna give me like
Here
a
we go.
million
Okay.
goddamn hot takes. So,
I gave you one thing I like about the movie. Here's one thing I don't like about Toy Story 2. Probably the thing I hate the most. Anything that happens at Al's apartment.
really,
I lose so much interest every time it cuts back to that apartment. I don't care about that plot at all.
You don't like when he's getting painted?
I was gonna
when
say
he's-
minus that one sequence.
Oh my gosh, I was just gonna say.
okay,
literally-
that is like when you're a kid, like you understand what like those like satisfying videos. That's like your first one as a
Yeah.
kid. Is Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's also fun watching Jerry come back and like paint.
Yeah.
Woody.
Of course.
And you wanna know why they have that? It's not just a fun cameo. It's because they ran out of time and they were like, we already have a character model from that animated short, so they put him into Toy Story 2.
Actually incredible.
That's awesome.
Which is also why he looks kind of out of place. He looks very different from Al.
Yeah,
like from like the animation.
Mhm.
yeah. I guess he does look a lot out of place. I don't know. I guess I've seen the movie so many times now where it's just like, yep,
That's him.
that's the guy.
But yeah, every time they go back to his apartment, I'm just like, just get the movie going already. It's so boring at his
Oh
apartment.
my gosh.
I like it.
You like it?
The
Yeah.
Cheeto dust fingers? Really?
No.
The
Such
texture?
details.
No.
Such detail.
I could live without
Okay.
it.
I'll tell you 3 parts of Al's apartment that are really good. One is when we get the introduction to the rest of the Roundup gang, when Woody's going over all of his memorabilia / watching the show.
Uh-huh.
So good. And of course, when Bullseye is licking the Cheeto dust off of Al's fingers is so funny.
Okay.
And he kind of like sheepishly looks at Woody like, I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
it's like a dog. I don't know. Those 3 parts make it. I could get where like it kind of like drags a little
Yeah.
bit when like Jesse's all like, just go back to your precious Andy already. But then you get her backstory, and then like you cry every time you watch it because you're like,
I
"No?
also don't care about Jesse's backstory.
That's so sad.
Jesse's song is like one of those songs that I'm like, get on with it. Yeah, that's another hot take.
No!
And what the fuck is her name? The singer, Sarah McLachlan.
Is that her?
Yeah,
No.
that's
It
all I
is.
think about. It's all I think about is like that stupid dog commercial or the one.
I don't
In
think
the
it's dogs
arms
though. I don't think it's dogs.
It's animals.
Yeah, it's like
It's
all
It is
animals.
dogs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not orphan children.
I know it was orphan children.
They're orphan children that are covered in fur.
Yeah, and I don't. It's such a
Fur
boring
babies.
song. It doesn't make me feel anything for
Oh, wow,
Jesse.
you're like actually heartless.
Truly.
No, and that's the thing is like I care for like Buzz in the first movie, but Jessie in this movie I don't care. She doesn't give enough for me to care about her.
Interesting.
Also, she doesn't even try to save herself.
What do you mean?
At the end, when Bullseye gets himself out of the cave, and then Jesse's just like in there the whole time.
Well,
up
yeah,
until
because
like
like
the very
when
end.
when it like closes, it relocks.
No,
'Cause-
but the case is open already when they're at the airport, and
Oh,
she's
yeah.
just like,
but then like people are around. She has to like play like the like toy part.
Yeah.
no. Jesse's supposed to be this like strong, independent character, but she's so weak and defenseless the whole time.
Jesus.
My heart.
I think Jesse did a stand-up job.
I don't like Jesse. Also, I just think Jesse's annoying. And
think-
okay, I get it. She has like mental health issues. Like, let's talk about that.
She does have trauma.
She does have
Yeah.
trauma, and I get that, right? Because imagine you're in like solitary confinement for years, and like all you see is like blackness, and you can't hear anything, and you're just trapped in storage. And then Jessie comes out, and she's just like, "Whoa! Look at this cowboy!"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like how you were in solitary confinement for the last week because you had COVID.
Agreed.
Yeah, but I didn't come out rooting and tooting it.
Well, yeah, because you had a TV and shit.
That bandana says otherwise.
But I don't know. Jessie just does not do it for me.
Okay, that's fair. I'll let you have your opinions.
I want to know why you like Jessie.
I like Jessie because she's like that like this is gonna sound weird. She's like that tomboy girl that like always like pairs up with like the shy kid. That's like 100% like her vibe, and you see it all the time. Cause like Woody's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and then Jesse comes out of nowhere, and is just like rooting and tooting and hollering and so excited and shit like that. And also, she is the epitome of like a grown-up horse girl.
Yeah.
Which like when you meet a horse girl, man, you know.
See, while we were watching the movie, and Jesse
I'm sorry.
and Jesse gets abandoned, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, of course. She's like, what I say? She's the booster to Woody's Turbo Man.
Yeah, that was indeed the text.
He wants a sidekick. Like, of course, get rid of that bitch.
No.
So I like that Jesse and Woody don't end up together. I like that.
Yeah,
I
they're
like
like brother and sister.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
that
like-
would be weird.
It would
yeah.
be weird.
I like that Jesse and Buzz have a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
Because I was gonna say, if Woody is like hanging out with like Jesse and gets some kisses, you know, Bo Peep's gonna be
Yeah.
the fuck's all that about, you know?
I also don't get, like, their attraction towards each other.
Hey man, it's all preference, right?
I guess.
In life, you know, you're attracted to who you're attracted to.
Love works in mysterious ways.
I don't know. So that's my take on Jesse. I don't enjoy Jesse. I like Bullseye.
Bullseye's like a dog. that,
Yeah,
like,
I think
you
that's why
love.
I like him.
I think it's funny because he's a horse, but
Mhm.
like I've never seen a horse act anything like that before, or like I guess I'm not around horses. So there are horses that act like dogs. Sick.
So, we talked about Jesse and Bullseye. I want to ask you, who do you think is like the real villain of Toy Story 2?
The real villain.
Well, there's quite a few of them.
But if you had to pick one, and you, like,
All right, ready? Deep down, it's the producers of Woody's Roundup for making Prospector an idiot, so that no kid would buy the Prospector toy, making Prospector a sour motherfucker.
why would you even name a toy Prospector?
Stinky Pete.
But it's like Prospector, Stinky Pete, very small.
Yeah. So, because, like you said, he got to sit on a shelf as he watched every other toy get bought, but him, because he was a Stinky Pete doll. Probably why it's so easy for him to stay in the box. So I say the real villain is the person who made Stinky Pete, thus skewing, Stinky Pete.
Kinky Pete.
Kinky Pete. Fucking.
He sure did be kinky at the end, though.
Whoa.
I don't think Stinky Pete's that big of a villain.
Exactly. He's made into a villain.
He's just
I don't think he's a
old.
villain at all.
He was born to be just a toy.
So what makes Stinky Pete a villain? What does he do
That he
that's
puts-
villainous?
Well, he puts himself first.
No.
Yes,
he
he
puts
does.
Jesse first.
No.
Yeah.
He uses Jesse as a ploy.
No, he cares for Jesse. There's so many parts in this movie where it shows that
No,
he's the only one that cares about Jesse's mental health.
No. He uses that as a way to twist Woody to stay.
It
so
seems
that
like they
could
have
go.
that relationship before Woody even shows up.
I don't know. I feel like he's using Jesse's sadness and her grief of like, you know, being like, fuck, I'm going back into storage and stuff like that against Woody. And using someone's mental illness against someone else is fucking villainous.
And he's using it against Jesse, too, I would argue, because think about it. They're all going to end up in a museum. Like, that's what he wants. You know, that's his dream. And he's almost twisted Jesse into believing that that's like a good thing. You know what I mean? To just be put behind glass
But
for everyone to look
Stinky Pete brings up a very existential question. Would you rather be like in a museum forever, praised by kids, or end up rotting in a landfill? Which is what's going to happen.
I do have to say, the Toy Story series will actually, every movie, like towards like the middle and end, they will bring up what's going to happen to the toys in the next movie. Because in Toy Story 1, they bring up Al's Toy Barn and collector items and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then that's exactly what happens in Toy Story 2. And then 2, he talks about what happens in 3. In 3, they even talk about what happens in 4.
Yeah. So Pete tries to save Woody He tries to save all of them.
in his own way.
But in the right way.
It's no, in his own way, because this is all like a subjective, like, how are you gonna live your life? Because Toy Story, the entire series, I'm always gonna argue, is what it's like to go through change.
Yeah.
Throughout your entire existence.
Yeah.
Granted, toys will last longer than humans if they're left in a museum, but if that's what they want, then that's what they want. But Woody's whole philosophy that gets kind of skewed in 1 and 2 is like, you're a child's plaything, and you like, your whole purpose is to, like, I don't know, like, be there for your owner, your kid.
Yeah.
You know, and Jessie feels the same way, but because she had that such a rough time at the end dealing with, you know, Emily growing up, she's like all jaded.
If Woody,
and then Stinky Pete never had that, so he never got to experience it. It's like growing up as like a child prodigy, and you don't get to have a childhood, and then you meet someone who did, and you're like, why are you so weird? Why aren't you like adult? You know?
Okay, if Woody went to the museum, he would have just came to the same conclusion he did in Toy Story 4. Because he's no longer interested in being a child's plaything in Toy Story 4.
Yeah. But that's because, like I said, it's the changes throughout, like, the growth of the characters
I know,
and
but he
stuff.
could have got there faster.
But then
I feel like Woody is past that, right? He's only there for Andy out of pure spite and jealousy. Because Woody is walking around like he has the biggest dick. He's like, alright, I know exactly what Andy wants. Make sure all the toys have the batteries. Make sure this is done. Make sure you show up to Mr. What's-His-Face's seminar. He's like acting like he's a head honcho the whole time.
He's like the mayor.
Yeah, how did none of the other toys have murdered him by now?
Like I said in the first podcast for this, Woody is kind of like a dick. All the other toys suffer because of him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In the case of Toy Story 2, it's out of his control getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
You know, like, here he went to go save a friend. Honorable. And then he gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
Nobody goes into a situation going, I might get kidnapped. But still, just like in Toy Story 1, the true hero is always Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear's the hero.
Buzz Lightyear.
This movie makes it seem like Woody's the hero.
Nah, Buzz Lightyear's the hero.
Woody's the one that, like, sacrifices himself basically to save Jessie.
Yeah, like, I guess they both have hero properties, but I'd argue Buzz is more of a hero because he sets out on this, like, grand adventure to go save Woody, which puts in events of where Woody could then be the hero to Jessie.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'd say Buzz is, like, S-tier hero. Woody's, like, B+.
Also, piggybacking off of that, it's like, especially at that pivotal moment when they do meet, and Woody's like, no, this is my destiny now. And Buzz being like, you know what? Fine. Like, I'm not going to try. Not try anymore. But he's like, you know what? Fine. Like, we have our differences. And he went away. I don't know. That's something like a true friend would do. You know what I mean?
If you love something, you let it go.
But Buzz doesn't even leave that quietly. He's like, you are a child's plaything.
Well, yeah, he's
toy.
Yeah.
Because he's repeating what Woody said back.
I know. What a bitch move.
Damn.
I have a lot of gripes with Toy Story 2.
I
think you have a lot of gripes in life.
I do.
I think because, like, that's like when, like, someone gives you, like, a taste of your own medicine.
Yeah, what a bitch.
I think you just try to remind him of his, like, own values. Just, you know, remind him instead of, like, being swept up in these promises that Prospector's making.
Because I feel like at that moment, Woody is developing as a character and trying to be selfless. Because he's doing this museum thing not for him, but to make everyone else happy. And instead of progressing as a character and developing that way, he gets dragged back down. And where we see Toy Story 3 Woody, same as Toy Story 1 Woody, being a dick as always.
But this is about Toy Story 2.
Exactly. So he doesn't develop as a character.
He develops in a weird way. I will say, yes, Woody does stagnate. That's why I can never, like, put Woody as, like, the hero of the stories. He's, like, main character, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, Buzz always having, like, that hero complex, it seems like. He's always going to be, like, the one that does everything right. But Woody's, like, a realistic character. You know?
I guess.
Because, like, how many times have you seen a character in, like, film or, like, TV where, like, they grow a little bit and then something happens where they kind of, like, retreat back a tiny bit or something happens? Like, you're always not going to have such, like, like, an upward kind of, like, climb up until, like, where you have to be as a character. And then you're going to fall, obviously, which kind of happens in 3. We'll get to that next week.
Okay.
But I think Woody's fine where he's at. Because what they did for Toy Story 2 is you're always trying to up yourself from, like, your last movie. And this time they added more characters. So instead of trying to focus just on Woody, Buzz, and the gang, add new characters that are kind of, like, dynamically different than them. Because you have Jesse, who's jaded about having an owner and is just like, run off to your precious Andy. And you have Bullseye, who's kind of there for the ride.
Yeah. You know what I think this movie could have benefited from? If more time passed in between Toy Story 1 and 2.
Like, in the actual, like, world of Toy Story?
Yeah, because it seems like it's almost immediately after Toy Story 1.
I would say, like, probably, like, maybe just a couple months, because Toy Story 1 ends in Christmas.
Right, it's after, like, the move, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like a couple of months. I don't feel like enough time has passed where Woody would even have that thought in his head that I'm going to be abandoned. If, like, something happened where it's, like, maybe Andy's, like, a preteen now, and, like, he doesn't play with toys as much anymore, and then in that situation of Woody meeting Jesse and Pete and everyone else, I could see that impacting him a little bit more.
Yeah, that'd be cool, actually.
But since that doesn't happen, and it happens only a couple months later, it almost feels like Woody's change of heart doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it makes sense because he gets damaged, and everyone knows once toys get damaged, they lose value.
Yeah, but it's not like... that's like the first instance of that.
Yeah, no, because, like, Woody is, like, he's, like, Andy's favorite, or second favorite, whatever. And yeah, she's right. When he gets damaged, he gets shelved. And he meets a toy that gets shelved and forgotten. And then he meets, how about to call her Wendy? And then he meets Jessie, who is just like, let me guess, Andy's this, Andy's that. And he goes, well, I used to have an Andy. Her name was Emily. And then basically goes through, and then we get her backstory, which then Woody's like, fuck!
Yeah, I think the reason Jessie's backstory works is because time passes.
Yeah, but now it's like, it's kind of like, it's like an early wake-up call for Woody. It's like when you're graduating high school and someone goes, you're going to have to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And you go, oh my God.
Yeah, I think Jessie's story where she got abandoned and everything was almost like potential foreshadowing for
to
Woody.
what could happen.
Yeah,
to Woody.
right, exactly.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I'd say enough about that really quick. Nadia, last night, or the 2 nights ago, you had a pretty good thing about this movie. Where you said it's not made for kids.
Oh yeah, this movie does so much better when you think of it as an adult movie. I loved this movie as a kid and everything, but going back and watching it now, it almost had more meanings to it because of Jessie's whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the toy Jessie in particular, but like, I also had like these toys and everything that I thought I loved so dearly as like a kid and everything. But like growing up, that sequence and like just impacted me so much because I was just like, oh man, like that's exactly what happened. We all grew up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here we are kind of talking about these things. Like life changed, life goes on, you know what I mean? No matter what.
Did you guys keep any of your toys into your adulthood? Like, yeah.
There's a couple in the attic.
Nice.
Yeah, I also have one on the end.
I always got my thing strapped on me. He's in here somewhere. I have a 101 Dalmatians toy
Oh, yeah?
that I kept since I was like 5. And then when I was like moving out, I was like, I gotta bring this with me. Like, I found it in the attic. I'm like, shit. There it is. So, like, I don't think I could ever, like, something that I, like, held dearly, I don't think I could ever just, like, put in a donation bin. But that might just be, like, us.
Yeah. You know, going off of what you said, Nadia, about this movie being more for adults, maybe that's the reason I didn't like it as a kid.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't a fun experience.
That's fair.
Like, Toy Story 1 felt kind of serious at times, but there was enough fun things going on. Versus Toy Story 2 has a lot of slow moments. Where it's like a lot of dialogue. and there's like not much going on, which is basically everything at Al's apartment.
Yeah, Al's apartment is definitely like the building of like the story for like these characters.
I don't like Al's like that whole, if I feel like you have the fun part, which is like Buzz's whole troop going to rescue Woody, and every time it cuts back and like slows down the pace of the story, it loses me so much where I'm like rewatching it today, I want to fast forward every part where it's at Al's because I want to get back to like the toy store.
I will say Buzz's group is like Expedition is better.
Mm-hmm.
It's more fun to watch. I will 100% say that.
If Toy Story 2 was mostly that, I would love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like let's talk about the little Buzz Lightyear expedition then. So his
Okay.
crew: Ham, the piggy bank, Mr. Potato Head, Rex, and Slink. Could you not ask for a better cast of characters to go on this little mission? You have sarcastic Mr. Potato Head, sarcastic Ham that just feed off of each other and everyone else. You have like, I don't know, like is Rex stupid or just like dim-witted?
I think he's anxious.
He's anxious?
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Mental health really captures the characters in these
Yeah.
movies.
Okay, so he's anxious. And then we have Slink, who's loyal as fuck.
Oh yeah, Slink's the best.
Like he was probably the first one in line to be like, I'm going on that I'm going on that trip to save Woody.
Yeah.
You know, he's my G. You know.
What this movie made me like a lot more is Ham.
Ham got better in this movie. Ham got better in this movie.
Yeah, he did.
Ham was he's like very witty in this movie. A lot more. He had a lot more like quips.
What I
Wait,
like
before we talk about them anymore, can we just talk about Mrs. Potato Head really quick?
Oh, George Costanza's mom.
Yes.
I said the same thing, and we weren't even in the same room. That's crazy.
Really? Yeah, when she popped up,
Yeah.
I just imagine her going like, George.
I just love it because like when she's packing him and stuff like that, like in your angry eyes, it's like, oh my god, I love her voice, I love her character.
And then when Al came out, I'm like, is that Newman?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When he first shows up at the yard sale, I'm like, Newman.
Yeah.
I think that was exactly what Mia said when we were watching
Really?
it. I was like, Newman.
Just everyone's a Seinfeld character.
Newman or Nedry, I guess, depending on what you subscribe to.
Toy Story takes place during like the entire season of Seinfeld.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting two Seinfeld actors to show up.
Who were they?
George Costanza's mom and Newman.
Okay.
No, actually, I don't think Newman was Al. I looked.
Yeah, Newman is Al.
Really?
Yeah, it's Wayne Knight.
Oh, his name's not actually Newman.
No.
Well, I'm glad we got that all taken care of. So
You were like, hold up, guys. It's not Newman. Sorry to burst your bubbles. It's some guy named Wayne Knight. Who the fuck is
yeah, whoever the fuck that guy is. I haven't really got into Seinfeld, so I didn't pick up on that. But
Can we go back to the beginning a little bit?
no,
I want to talk about the way this movie kicks off.
we did that already.
No. But this movie doesn't do a good job at kicking off the story.
Really?
Wait, with Woody needing to find his hat?
Well, that's all like just beginning shit, right? But like when this like actual plot begins is when he gets kidnapped, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that whole sequence of him going to rescue Wheezy, like getting mixed up in the yard sale and then getting kidnapped is so abrupt and doesn't come out of anywhere. I feel like it doesn't merit like the reaction that it wants from us. Whereas Toy Story 1 had this build-up, right? Of like, there's this build-up of Buzz getting in like the popular seat, Woody becoming jealous, building up over time to the point where Woody wants to discard Buzz, and then that starts off the whole like, I have to rescue Buzz and bring him back. But Toy Story 2 is like, yeah, fuck all of that. Let's just kick off right to like the actual main story of this movie. And it kind of comes out of nowhere for me, and I don't enjoy it as much, which also makes me not as interested in the story.
Okay, I can see that a little bit. For me, I think it's kind of funny. So we kept painting Andy's mom as kind of like a fucking gaslighting bitch.
Yeah.
So like here she sends her son on cowboy camp.
Yeah.
and then immediately goes into his room and starts selling his toys. Which I think is like really funny, but also really sad at the same time.
Classic mom move.
Because like the yard sale is very abrupt. It's like because like we learned about their move in the beginning of Toy Story 1, and then because how we said like as kids we didn't pick up on that, and then all of a sudden boom they're moving like oh that's weird.
Let's say this is like 6 months later.
Yeah.
Christmas, summer.
Yeah. So then like for this like yard sale to pop up out of nowhere, I guess I'm so used to shit just randomly happening in these animated movies.
But
that I'm kind of just like whatever. And then like him getting like kidnapped, I guess it kind of just happens really quickly.
Yeah.
But like, don't most crimes that this happen really quickly?
But wouldn't it be better if there was a build-up? Like he sees his toy, gets
but I
taken
think
away.
I think they still wanted to keep it in like the realm of like this is a kids movie, so like try to get to the fun as fast as possible.
Right, they have to hold attention.
But there's not a good balance. Like we said earlier, this feels more like an adult movie than a kids movie.
Exactly, but I'd say the beginning, it's not as strong as the middle and the end.
I think this to me feels like a straight to VHS storyline.
Really?
Yeah, because it doesn't take its time. It's like fuck it, let's get out of here because like we're already losing people.
Yeah, I think it is kind of like it does feel like a sprint.
Yeah,
this one is more of a sprint than like.
But just the beginning, because the rest of it drags. And I think if they like fix the pacing just a little bit, that would get an automatic like +2 points to this movie for me.
I don't know. I guess for me, it's just like it moves at a nice rate for me because this like you never get tired of one area for like so long because it cuts to another area pretty quickly. Because like we cut back and forth between Al's apartment and like the Buzz Lightyear trip.
Yeah.
And then they're at the toy store and they're on the road and stuff like that. So like I feel like it moves at a nice pace for me throughout it all. Like it makes sense.
I wish it just started better.
Because I feel like they don't have much time to build up for Woody's disappearance, well like Woody's kidnapping. Because they're like, Andy comes back in 2 days. We need to rescue our friend. We're toys. We can only move at 1 mile an hour.
Yeah.
I also feel like this whole thing, going back to Woody's whole dilemma, I think him being shelved and then him being the one to go rescue Wheezy was like super important because it was almost like a way for him to prove himself too. That he's still
selfless
worth
act.
it. Yeah. That he's still like worth being played with and everything.
He's still a sheriff of Woody's room, baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Woody got humbled. Like he's like, whoa, I was the MVP and now all of a sudden I'm on the shelf, and he like had a lot of compassion for Wheezy because he's like that could be me in the yard sale. Like please save me, you know.
I don't know. I feel like they already did that in Toy Story 1, where they try to humble him.
I mean, if you think about it, like, are you talking about because he saves Buzz?
Woody humbles himself in Toy Story 1. He realizes he fucked up because his friends are like, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's like, just like how they said, it's like outside events change Woody's, like, idea. The thing is, do you think Woody would have went after Wheezy if he didn't get shelved? Or do you think he would have let him die?
What a hot take.
I think he would have let him die.
Exactly.
Also, why didn't Wheezy just jump?
And die?
No, we've established toys can get blown up and not die.
Yeah.
Like, he's made out of, like, squeaky rubber.
Yeah.
Nothing would have happened if he would just jumped off
Oh, yeah,
the
Wheezy's
shelf.
a bitch.
Wheezy doesn't know that though. That he's made out of squeaky rubber.
Wheezy's
That'll
like-
be okay.
Wheezy's
My
like,
squeaker.
I can't move on. I tried shouting, but no one could hear me.
I like to imagine that little storybook that was propped up against him was too much for him. He couldn't move.
I think he did it himself.
Yeah.
I know, but
maybe his squeaker just like died like a long time ago, and he's just like, you know what? I'm sick of all this fucking horse shit.
I think Wheezy gave up too fast.
I don't know. I don't know. Put yourself in Wheezy's shoes.
Wheezy's-
Like, how would you like to be a squeaky toy without a squeaker? Like, how fucked is that? It had to be really cute to be able to keep it.
As a child, that
If
would be
not-
my favorite part. It's like, oh, finally, that annoying squeak's gone. Now I can play with this toy.
You were a very different child.
Yes,
Wait,
were.
you guys play with squeaky toys?
No, that's why I removed the squeaky.
Did your parents give you dog toys for toys?
They said those were premium toys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
Well, can I
okay.
interject?
Yeah.
Now, I might just be remembering it wrong, but did Woody stayed on the shelf until Andy came back, right?
No.
No,
No?
that's his dream.
Oh, that's his dream. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And he goes, I don't want
wanna
to play with you anymore.
anymore.
Which is such a fucking iconic scene, and it's so scary.
It is.
That is scarier than the VHS commercial that we talked about in the first episode.
Well,
Because it is like Andy's soulless eyes like, I don't want to play with you anymore, and then he drops Woods into Woods. I combine them. He drops Woody into
I
the
wanna
fucking
shit him.
abyss, and then he gets like taken into a garbage can with all these other like mangled up, forgotten toys. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up choking himself. Like how many times have you like, I don't know, never have I
Yeah.
woken up that fucking crazy.
I don't know. To make that even more nightmarish, like, could you imagine if it was fucking if it was Toy Story 1 Andy?
Oh God.
Where every single white child looked the same.
yeah. I feel like that scene was off-putting because they were all playing with the same card. It was all like the Ace of Spades. And I was like, what game are you playing?
Yeah. That's a
They're
weird deck
cheating.
of cards. Yeah, they're all cheating. Like, and I got an ace up my sleeve.
But when Newman steals Woody,
Newman.
or when Al steals Woody, I think that's the only bad thing he does in the whole movie is stealing. I feel like if he didn't steal, he would just be a good character
He would be a character with his own intentions.
because he cares for toys. I feel like he's made to be like the other villain in this movie, but
He's on the opposite side of like when you hear of toys. You hear about people playing with toys, and you hear about people collecting toys. He's on that side.
he cares for toys.
No, what
No,
makes
not-
you say that?
Not care.
He cares so much.
He's trying to
wants
sell
like,
them. He's in it for the money.
No, but he wants to like preserve them, and he has like he's obviously a fan of Woody's Roundup.
Because they're gonna make him money.
I think this started off as before it was that. Who just randomly starts collecting stuff, and then now it's like, oh, I have something now.
Okay. Maybe I'll give you he was an avid fan, so he built up that collection. But in the end, he's selling the main part or all of it
To
to
museum.
make money.
To museum.
To make money.
Yeah.
He's gonna make big bucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what's wrong with that?
Well then, like he's not about the whole like these are mine. I'm gonna preserve them forever. He's in it for a gain.
Yeah, but he still loves toys. He has a fucking toy store.
I don't know about loves toys.
If you didn't like toys, you would not have a toy store.
Well, why do you think he was raising money? He was trying to get himself out of that situation. Why do you think he's
Yeah.
so sad and crying in the chicken soup? Because he
Because-
lost out on the
because
big bucks.
These toys bankrupt him. And that commercial, he's giving everything away for $1. He lost all his money.
Yeah, that does kind of suck.
Yeah, Al did
I'm not-
nothing wrong.
I'm not sympathetic towards chickens though. So.
I'm sympathetic towards Al because he does nothing wrong in the movie. He does the right thing. He preserves Woody. He fixes them. He tries to preserve the whole Woody's Roundup in a museum.
And he steals.
That's the only thing he does wrong.
Yeah, well, crime doesn't pay. You wouldn't download a toy, would you, Ish?
I would.
You're a villain.
You're Al.
Yeah, I am.
Well,
I feel like what?
I might bring up one thing is that collecting and being a child's plaything are pretty like contrasting ideas going against each other because he is storing them in a box and he doesn't know that these toys have life, but they clearly don't like that very much.
So I
That's
guess
my take.
So yeah, I guess after you learn like Jesse's like, I don't want to go back in storage and shit like that, you know,
Nick,
you do feel how long they have been in there.
Let me
you know?
ask you a question. You like Pokemon.
I love Pokemon.
You like Pokemon cards.
Yeah, I like them.
Does you collecting Pokemon cards make you hate Pokemon cards?
Huh?
Then why is Al collecting and preserving toys make him hate toys?
Why does he only have 4 toys?
He has more than those.
It says memorabilia.
He has a whole toy store full of toys.
But they're not his. They're not his to like play with and collect. He's selling them for a profit, just like he's doing with the Roundup gang. God damn it!
I feel like you can say that about any person with a hobby, though. Because they're like, oh, I like video games, but I collect them to sell them.
Well, yeah, that's different than just collecting them. You're also like selling them.
That's what
You're
I
like-
was doing.
Yeah, well, like no, not really. Not with his toy store.
He's selling toys.
Yeah, but he's not collecting toys to sell. It looks
Is
like
not as a store, not just a big collection.
because like when you collect stuff, you're kind of getting like almost like secondhand or something to hold on to kind of like gain value to flip later.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a store that sells toys. That's just like a Toys R Us. They're not flipping anything. They're just getting shipments of toys in.
I feel like
Who the fuck collects 1,000 Buzz Lightyears and puts them in a store like as if they're just gonna sell them for retail value?
I feel
That's
like-
not a collection.
I feel
That's
like-
just a fucking store.
I feel like Al is still just
He's-
a collector, though.
He's just a businessman, okay? And 9 out of 10 times businessmen are crooked, okay?
No, Al did nothing wrong.
No, he's crooked.
No,
He's crooked.
the only villain is ourselves.
No, Al is a villain because he had a whole bowl of Cheetos in his arms and fell asleep and they fell all over the ground. That is the real crime.
Messy apartment.
So you're blaming a victim. Al gets sexually assaulted by Bullseye in that same scene.
The textures.
All right. Okay, so we talked about Al, talked about Jesse. There's not a lot of stuff going on with Bullseye because he's kind of like the dog character.
Yeah.
If Bullseye could talk, do you think that would increase the value of his like character, or would you be like, nah, he's cool being the dog?
Yeah.
Is Bullseye a dummy because he can't talk?
I don't know.
No, I imagine he'd have like a very husky, like country voice, like very deep, and he would just
No.
have.
I think he would talk
Oh.
like Lenny. He'd be like,
Lenny?
yeah,
That's also the vibe I got, but
Like-
I think it would decrease the value.
It's like,
Yeah,
Woody Rabbits.
I like that he's like not silent, I guess, but like silent.
Yeah.
He just kind of like chills. He's like hanging out. He's like the trusty steed. and
Yeah.
shit like that. But when he meets Bullseye and Jesse, can we talk about the Roundup gang show?
Whoa, these
These
Roundup.
I, as a kid, really thought that was a show.
Did you?
Yeah. And my dad gaslit me, and he told me it was.
That's awesome.
I love him.
And I was like, and then like I don't know, I think like it was one of those like times because like I said in the first podcast, I was the kid that would like play movies constantly, the same one over and over and over again until I jumped ship to a new one. And I think my dad realized I was gonna do that with the other Toy Story movie, so he was kind of like, all right, if I could find Woody's Roundup, maybe he'll stop, like, so he started showing me other cowboy shows and other animated movies, and he kicked me off that playing the same movie over and over and over again. So just because in the back of my mind I knew one day I might see Woody's Roundup
Damn.
in a weird turn of events, and then when I got older I was like, wait a minute.
So he just gave you other like westerns.
Yeah, like he showed me like like a bunch of like Clint Eastwood movies and stuff like that.
He just gave you a full plate of spaghetti westerns.
Yeah, basically. and then like other animated movies that came out, like Small Soldiers.
That's terrifying.
I also like watched that, and it was kind of, and it was like I think he just like was like, I don't want to hear the same movie in the background or upstairs constantly, so he like interjected movies into my life to get me to stop doing that, all in the hopes I would get to watch Woody's Roundup one day.
Woody's Roundup. You know how earlier you mentioned that the producers are the main villain? That's another moment where they're a villain. Who cancels a show on its
Right.
final episode?
Because like you probably already know it's filmed.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I don't know if I could be a TV producer or like to be in charge of like that much money and shit like that.
Mhm.
But if you already have shit filmed, let it air. Like,
Yeah.
come on. They did it with House of Cards even after shit with Kevin Spacey came out. Like, I don't know.
What happened with Kevin Spacey?
Oh my god, you didn't know? He's gay.
Oh, no. Cancel him, please.
Oh, God.
But but yeah, so like I don't know. You definitely know they filmed the final episode,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna like pull the plug. We got a space ranger on the horizon. You know, you piss off at least 15 people.
You know, what are you gonna say? You know what I think Andy got the most fucked on? He didn't get the cool Buzz Lightyear.
Oh,
like
the one with the belt.
the new one has like the belt, it has suction cups, it has like a grappling hook.
Yeah, this is definitely like Buzz Lightyear V2.
Yeah, like Andy's mom got this Buzz from like a truck. Like that Buzz fell off a truck and she bought it in an alley.
Yeah.
And it lost all its accessories.
Some liquidation sale.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. My parents bought me stuff like that.
You got the display model.
Display model or like my mom told me that she got me a Furby when I was growing up, and it was like a back alley deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like the truck was pulling up to like a Walmart or something like that, and the truck driver like gave someone like 20 some of them and was just like kind of paid off on the side. And then that girl she worked with and is like bought them off of her.
Your mom got good guy dolled. You could have died.
I could have died.
I mean, Furbies are already terrifying. I can only imagine a back alley Furby.
Dude, I loved Furby growing up. I don't know why. Something about like the weird hybrid chicken bird thing was awesome.
Furby. You know, Furby was supposed to be like a Gremlins spin-off thing.
What?
I can see
Yeah, that's what
that.
I
I
based
see
off
it.
of.
That's probably why I like it so much.
Yeah, that's also why they're terrifying.
I don't know about terrifying.
I don't like how their beaks are flesh-colored.
And that they move like
Yeah.
lips.
And their little tongues flick at you. They're like, come here, boy.
They should put Furby in Toy Story.
Thank God they did it.
Oh,
They
I would
should have.
love to see a Furby.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Al's Toy Barn real quick?
The second best part of the movie.
Yeah. I love everything at Al's Toy Barn. I love when Rex sees the game magazine. He's just like, this is how you beat Zurg.
I do like how he makes the comment. He's just like, this is unfair. You need to pay for this.
Yeah, that's extortion.
It's amazing.
I love Ham driving.
Yeah.
Because everything about Ham, I love all his quips. Where he's just like, the little comments he makes. Like when they're at the Pizza Planet truck. And like all that shit crashes on top of him. And then the next scene we come back to him, he's just reading the manual. He's like, oh, there's no way he's getting that kind of mileage. He's in his own world the whole time.
He really is. And when Barbie jumps in the car to like drive, and he goes, let the single guy get in the way.
Yeah. I'm tour guide Barbie.
I'm a married spud. I'm a married spud. Yeah, Alice Toy Barn is probably the it's wavering between the best or second best.
Al's Toy Barn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the best.
I have
Best.
to say, I love. Can we talk about the Buzz clone scene?
Oh,
where
yeah.
we get the second Buzz, the cooler Buzz, if you will.
I like
Coming
in the first three movies, like there's like a Buzz Lightyear plot line for each one of them, where it's like the first one he's like, obviously he doesn't know he's a toy, and then in this one he's like apprehended by another Buzz that also doesn't know he's a toy, and then he gets put on Spanish mode in the next one,
Oh, yeah.
which I'm assuming doesn't know he's a toy.
Plot twist.
No,
Spoiler.
Well, then you didn't listen to the first episode, Nadia. We did this already. We already talked about the other
Wait, I still have to
We
say-
weren't there to interject it.
You're right.
Exactly.
All right, spoiler alert. But I definitely like this one the most of all
Yeah.
the Buzz Lightyear plotlines because it's like you get like a character development on the new Buzz.
I love how animated he is too. Like when he
Yes.
moves, he's just like, he just like runs like super funny.
I like when like Buzz is trying to leave. Well, our Buzz is trying to leave, and he gets like attacked or whatever, and you hear the buttons beeping again.
I'm like buzz, buzz, buzz.
We don't get that until Zurg does that. to
Oh,
him.
yeah.
But like you
Oh,
hear like that
Zurg.
when he's falling
Yeah.
and stuff, and he gets kind of like captured, and he goes, "That should hold you till the court marshals get here."
Yeah.
It's like holy fuck.
That brings up another point of like, has that Buzz been sentient the whole time?
Yeah.
Why isn't he trying to get back to wherever he's from? He's just like in that display
He
case.
can't leave his post.
Yeah, he can't leave his post. He's on guard duty. Everything, all the other Buzzes are in hypersleep.
That's the one thing I don't like about any of the Toy Stories. I don't like Buzz. Like I don't like his like whole I'm a toy, but I'm not a toy unless someone like activates me. Like he's like a sleeper agent, and like they poke him in the forehead. It's like you're a toy, awake.
I want to interject something because you brought up hypersleep. So I know in the last podcast you guys mentioned that they don't become sentient until they're played with, but how is Stinky Pete?
Yeah,
Sentient?
exactly.
He's
Because
never
he
been
takes
taken
himself
out of
the box. But
No,
but then how does he get out of the box?
Yeah, exactly.
So someone must have. Oh, it was definitely one of those times where someone bought Stinky Pete and then
Unwound him. Right. They
and
took
then,
him out of
and
the
then
box.
they realized how much better he could get money for him later if he put him back in the box.
But he would remember that. But he doesn't.
I think he was lying.
I think he. I bet he does remember because it is like a plot twist that he could come out of like the box.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
he wanted to think he's better than everyone else because he hasn't been
mint.
touched. But
But truth be told, he's been touched. Exactly.
I feel like he could be a liar.
Can we use a different word?
Stinky Pete has been touched.
Oh my God. Someone poisoned the water hole.
which is I still say the best quote we have for Woody.
I like when Woody is like, "There's a snake in my boot." Oh, I get it.
I get it. There's a snake in my boot.
Ooh, you know, I know last time we said that Buzz had better quotes than Woody, but I feel like he does have some good ones. Like in this one, he said like the reach for the sky. I think that's
do
a
like
good
that.
one.
He doesn't say that in the first one though.
No, I don't think so.
I thought he did. It must have been Mandela effect on me.
Yeah, he doesn't say reach for the sky.
And another one I like is run like the wind, bullseye.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
another
good
one.
quote.
But that's a codependent quote. He can't say that by himself.
No, you're right. The reach for the sky like could be a tattoo. I guess they could both be tattoos, but the first one's a little better.
Yeah, someone has to be bullseye though.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
That could be a couple tattoos.
that's a weird couple tattoo in my opinion.
It's just like someone says reach for the sky, the other one just has a
Bullseye.
horse blinking with one eye.
That is a very kinky Pete tattoo, if you will.
Run like the wind, and the other one gets bullseye.
Bullseye. Like a very minor villain gets introduced at the toy barn, which is Zurg, right?
Yes.
And Zurg, when he first gets his appearance, right, he is such a weird character because he just like immediately bashes out of his case. That's also like, why is he activated all of a sudden?
I don't know. I'm not gonna try to explain this anymore.
Yeah,
Because I don't know. I really don't know why he's activated.
So wait,
Maybe because he sees Buzz.
didn't he get? Wasn't that a whole thing? Like they're driving around and his box got knocked over.
No, that's at the end when Buzz is leaving.
Yeah, remember he knocks the whole like all those board games down and stuff, and I guess one of them must have been Zurg.
Mm-hmm.
And Zurg just punches his way out. So I
If
guess
he's-
maybe that's it. He gets
Yeah,
rattled.
that's what I assumed always. Yeah, that he got rattled, and like you think about it, like when something falls, like sometimes like when a toy will fall, like
It makes
at a
noise.
store, yeah, it'll hit like it's like button, like it's try me button. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, does Zurg pull out that little battery tab himself so he gets all like those voice modulations?
I don't know. I feel like he just like sees Buzz and he's like, that is my
But it
one
doesn't see
purpose
Buzz.
in life.
He lands himself.
I know, but then when he
looking
gets out of the box, you see through his little targeting.
But why does he
pole.
come out of the box?
I don't know. For
I
fun?
What I
Margaritas?
did notice that I did think was funny, I don't know if it's intentional, is when Zurg's box falls over, he's the only Buzz Lightyear memorabilia in the whole pile. The rest of it's just like pool toys or whatever. It's just like random shit.
Yeah, board games and shit.
Yeah, and it's just like Zurg. So
Yeah.
I imagine like a mom's just fed up with the kid and just puts that toy right there.
Yeah,
It's like
Zurg,
you're
We're
just-
going home.
Yeah.
They interrupted his Stinky Pete
Yeah.
story.
Kill Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, I like his
Buzz
like just
Lightyear.
going through the parking lot, not even going straight. He's just like zigzagging the
Yeah.
whole time.
I think Zurg is a sleeper agent. It's like the whole kill John Lennon. It's like that, but for Zurg. Yeah. Yeah, like he gets like awoken because he hears like Buzz Lightyear
Yeah.
voices.
My third favorite part is with Zurg, where they're in the elevator
And
and
shooting his ping pong balls at him.
yeah, and Buzz makes that flip over him, and they have like the whole moment where he's like, "No, I am your father," and Zurg gets like knocked over by Rex.
Father. Which is such a good Star Trek thing.
Star Trek.
I'm kidding. I know it's Star Wars. Calm down.
Haha.
The room.
We invited you here.
But I like what it leads up to.
Yeah.
And them playing catch with each other.
It's
I got
so-
a lot of catching up to do.
I love my dad.
I'm gonna say and play catch with my dad.
He throws it at his head.
And Hazel goes, "That's my boy."
I love when he's just like, yippee! Which
yeah.
is also a Star Wars reference, question mark.
Yippee.
Yeah, when Annie, he's like pot racing, he's just like, yippee! That's the only ever time I've heard yippee uttered.
I know last podcast you guys said that you noticed some there were some jokes that went over your head as a kid that you understand now.
Uh-huh.
I feel like for me it was when Mr. Potato Head took out his ears when he wanted to stop listening to I think Rex
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about Zurg.
Yeah. Or all of Ham's quips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Or
much all
just
of them.
something that you just didn't get as a kid, but now you're like, alright, I get it. That's kind of funny.
I do like the Mr. Potato Head pieces and stuff like that because in the first one he takes his lips off and kisses his ass.
Yeah.
Now this one he takes it off and stuff. I do like when they meet up with like when they're gonna save Woody and he goes, "Meet Angry Eyes," and he puts his shoes in.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just hits the wall.
Also, he doesn't wear a mustache in the first movie, right?
I can't remember.
I don't think he does.
Cause he
I don't think so.
because he takes it off and puts it on. Like in the beginning of the movie, he doesn't have it in one scene. He puts it on. So
Because I thought Mrs. Potato Head gave him a mustache.
maybe, and maybe became a man that day. Get some
Maybe.
facial hair.
Mhm.
Who knows?
Character.
I do like how he becomes dad.
Yeah, Daddy.
Maybe.
Yeah, when they steal the Pizza Planet
Mm-hmm.
delivery. Is it the same car? You think?
I think
I
think
like
so.
to imagine it's the same
Yeah.
car. So this guy's like, "The fuck happened to my fucking car?"
One of the things I do want to like bring up is, what does Andy's mom think happens? Because she locks Woody up in the cash box. Woody gets stolen. End of the movie, Andy's fixing up Woody, and she's like, "Hey, you fixed stuff."
Hey,
So,
bada
like,
boom, bada bing.
What the fuck does she think happened with Woody?
She probably took a Xanax and wine and like was probably like, "Did I misplace this toy?"
Yeah, she was probably like
By
parent
freaking
like
the
that
fuck
just
out.
killed the goldfish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to go replace the new one. She was probably freaking out and hoping it just turned up and hoping she misplaced it in her
Because
mind.
like that's what she just like tells Andy, like, "Oh, don't worry, your toys will turn up eventually."
Do you think there's just like a sealed Woody doll in like the closet that she just bought an extra one and she's like, "Fuck, I have to
No,
return this one."
because Woody's vintage.
Yeah, he's
hard
hard
to find.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know, but like she's probably like after the yard sale, she's like, "Oh fuck, where's this toy?"
Like, what does she think as a parent if you gawk into your kid's child, his room, and you see Woody's back and there's 5 other toys there?
All right, not gonna lie. When I was growing up, my parents never kept tab on anything I owned.
Huh?
So I remember it'd be like months and months, maybe even a year after Christmas, and like I'd be playing with something, and parents would be like, "Where'd you get that?" Like, "I got this for Christmas." Like, "Oh yeah, that's right." So like for me, my parents were busy to keep track of what I was playing with.
See, I could just imagine like Andy's mom picking him up at camp and he's like, "Andy, sorry, someone stole Woody." I mean, he shows up at home devastated. He's like, "Woody's right here. Mom drinks way too much."
Or maybe she didn't think he was stolen. Maybe just misplaced.
No, she put him in the lockbox, locked it. She comes back,
It's
lockbox
open.
is busted open. Woody's gone.
Yeah, she definitely
Money's
knew he
still
was stolen.
there.
And
no,
then when he
someone
turns
stole
up,
Woody.
I know. And then when he turns up, I know she's probably thinking something. What the fuck?
Yeah, she didn't even like call the cops or anything. She's just like, "Damn, that guy fucked me."
I mean, I don't know if I would call the cops for that, though, to be fair.
If someone stole my Woody doll, you
Yeah.
don't think I would call the cops?
Prices must be paid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
don't
demand
know.
retribution.
So we talked about Al's Toy Barn. Let's go to the last set piece, the
plane.
airport.
What I think is the best part of the movie.
Very fun set. Like
Yeah.
just lots of moving parts. Always kept my attention as a kid.
And that piece moves the fastest because they get to the airport, boom, they're down at the airport almost instantly. It feels
I think
like.
it's too fast.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably too fast. I think they're kind of like, guys, we're running out of film here. We gotta speed this part up.
If
real
they
quick."
cut 50% of Al's scenes at his apartment, it would have been so much better. I feel like how do they defeat Pete? Pete punches Buzz.
And no, he punches Woody. He blind.
He punches Buzz.
No, because
he
knocks
Buzz.
He knocks Woody down. I thought.
Yeah,
and
he
then
does knock Woody
And then
down.
they come out of nowhere with all the flashing stuff.
Yeah.
Here's some education. Buzz opens the case. Pete punches Buzz. Buzz topples over, falls over the railing.
Oh, okay.
Woody shows up. He's like, "Hey, don't punch my friends." He gets punched. Then he gets ripped.
Yeah, and then Buzz and all the friends come out of nowhere with all the flash equipment.
Yeah, but he gets punched first.
Okay. Well, it made it sound like you were talking about, like, how do they defeat him? So I was talking about right up until where they defeat him.
But that
I'm not
happens-
talking about that extra little
That's the
part.
same, like, second.
Yeah, okay. So, like, that's what I'm talking about. I was just saying they come out of nowhere with all the flash equipment.
Yeah.
And they blind him.
And
And then you went, no. So that made me think you didn't agree with
Buzz
that part.
gets punched first.
Okay, I agree with that part.
And then Woody
But
gets punched.
I'm saying how they defeat him. That's
Yeah.
what your question was.
Yeah.
How do they defeat him?
But other gripe with that, Woody gets ripped open just like he originally got ripped open, but now he can move his arm. Originally when he got ripped, he couldn't move his arm.
He's being all dramatic.
Yeah, fuck Woody. Like, he's able to hold Pete. He's the one holding Pete at the end, right? When he gets all flashed.
Don't they just, like, all take him? And
No,
they just, like,
someone's
stuff him?
Someone's holding him up.
I'm going to say Buzz.
Buzz is holding him up?
Definitely Buzz.
Yeah.
I don't think Woody can hold
And
anything up with his little pathetic, stuffy arms.
And they get rid of him.
Yeah.
And they put him in, like, the backpack or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's Hannah's backpack.
What?
She's an artist.
She's an artist.
That's like, what, half a minute?
Maybe.
This villain gets half a minute, and then done.
Yeah, it's kind of like when, like, you just, like, I don't know, like, you shoot someone, they're dead.
That's bullshit. How is, like, the main villain of this
Hey,
movie?
you said he wasn't a villain.
I know, but the main villain of this movie,
Mm,
how does he get defeated so fast?
I don't know.
Because maybe
'Cause
he
he's-
wasn't
'cause
like
he's-
the real villain of it. You know what I mean? He just suffered from being so like
Caught up
so
in the
burdened
moment.
by
I
by
think they
being-
just, like,
He
did
would.
not know how to finish the story.
He was kind of outnumbered too,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he was outnumbered.
He had an axe.
but still.
I would have taken a few down.
an axe don't
That, like,
take
he-
down plastic.
That he drops when he gets flashed, and they all just, like, swarm him.
Yeah.
So, like, I think either way, he was fucked. Half a minute doesn't matter. He was dead.
And then that finishes off with Bullseye able to outrun a plane.
Okay, I'm so glad Kyle's gonna bring it up. This is the reason why I love this part of the movie, is because of how fucking dumb it is, because it's awesome. Bullseye can outrun or keep up with a plane perfectly. And
He could run like the wind.
he can run like the... Ah, damn it, Mia, you beat me to it.
Bullseye
That's right.
Fast and Furious is this movie.
Oh yeah.
When he's, like, running up against the plane.
Yeah, they basically pull like a Fast and Furious heist,
Yeah.
which I love. I just love how absurd it is at the end. Because I feel like they're like, how do we get out of the airport? Okay, I have an idea. And they're like, let's go with it.
I don't know. I don't like the ending that much.
I do feel like this movie definitely suffered a crunch.
Yeah.
Like, there must have been some kind of development crunch because of how fast they move through pieces. I'm not sure what the development was like, but it feels like
Terrible.
it's 4 teams of people working on 4 different parts of the movie all at once. So that's probably why they feel kind of short, or like maybe not 100% connected, like you were saying. But for me, I think it does pretty well.
Do you know, like, the history of this? Of, like, the development of Toy
Well,
Story 2?
I do know that when they were trying to bring it, like, to remaster and stuff like that, they, like, lost the original for a while.
So, here's a little history for you. I didn't give you any history in the beginning, right? Toy Story 2, right? While they're making this movie, someone decides to, I'm going to delete some files. Accidentally deletes all files off of this, like, server. The whole movie starts to get deleted scene by scene by scene. Everyone's panicking to the point where, like, they call up, like, IT on the servers and they're like, unplug the machine. And they're like, what? We can't do that. And he's like, unplug the fucking machine. So they unplug it, reboot it, movie's gone. Toy Story 2 is completely deleted. Luckily, one staff member was pregnant during production and had a baby.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was working from home and she was like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm a woman in the workplace. I'm not gonna work here. Made Pixar or Disney install like this $1 million computer in her home. So she actually had a backup of the entire movie at her house. She brings that up in a meeting. Her and some other dude drive to her house, carefully pick up her computer, put it in her like Volkswagen, buckle it up, and the guy's like hugging it, and they're driving like 35 miles an hour back to Pixar, hoping to get a police escort.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was like messing up. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do know about the story about the woman having it.
Yeah, and they get back to Pixar, and then people are basically carrying it in like an Egyptian pharaoh. There's like 6 people carrying in this computer.
Oh my gosh.
Plug it in, movie's there. Show it to John Lasseter and everyone else. They hate it. They have to rewrite. They have to redo the whole movie anyways.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know the end part of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
That's the best part.
So
I,
John Lasseter is the villain.
Because John Lasseter was away during Bug's Life, so he wasn't really involved during this production.
Right.
So when he finally
Oh, and
went
Bug's
back,
Life is such a good movie.
yeah.
Mhm.
So when it finally gets back, they're like, "Daddy's home. I don't like this."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, John Lasseter is the real villain.
Yeah.
Inside Toy Story and outside.
Yeah. Can we talk about how many like Bug's Life references are in this movie?
Oh, there's like the end credit, and then there's a flick toy in the background.
Along with
And-
Heimlich, not Heimlich, the
the
beetle. Yeah, the
Beetle's
horned beetle.
there.
Yeah, Hornbeel's there.
And Dot's there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in the beginning, on the planet, that's supposed to be Ant Hill.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like a lot of Bug's Life references because I guess they really were banking on Bug's Life for some reason. Or like, this
Yeah.
is it.
And it was like kind of an underdog
Mhm.
Pixar movie.
Yeah, because Toy Story 2 started off as a direct-to-video movie.
I could see it.
Yeah, I can still see it.
And then
But
Savage.
so like 1995 we get Toy Story 1, then 99 we get Toy Story 2, which is like not a long time
No.
in between two movies that are like animated
Yeah.
for Pixar. Because what Bug's Life comes out 97, 98?
Around there.
Yeah. So like the fact that then they had to scramble to make this movie like that quickly,
Mm-hmm.
kind of impressive. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
because it looks good,
Yeah.
and they add more characters and stuff like that. It's
You know-
like kind of insane.
You know, I think Toy Story 1 looks better than Toy Story 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks better. I think it gets like that like updated feel.
I think there was too much jank. I didn't like Toy Story 2 how it looked. Because I rewatched some clips from Toy Story 1 right before I was watching Toy Story 2, and I was like, yeah, Toy Story 1 looks polished.
Toy Story 1, they look more like toys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Toy Story 2, they look more like cartoon characters.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that.
But they
like,
still keep the toy movement, but they look generally more like cartoon characters,
I just
which I
don't-
think kind of stinks. But I don't know. I like it.
I don't like
It's not
the-
like it ruins anything for me.
They give them like too much shine at some places, and it's like, it looks weird. I don't like Toy Story 2. I think Toy Story 1 was good. Toy Story 2 was like the awkward teenage phase. And Toy Story 3 is like, they perfected how the toys look.
I guess I never had that angsty teenager phase. So like liking Toy Story 2 was my angsty teenager phase.
Are there any other scenes or things you guys want to talk about?
Oh, I think my favorite one is when they're all, when the Roundup gang, no, not the
Mhm.
Roundup gang, the Buzz Lightyear gang is crossing the road to get to Al's Toy Barn.
Oh, yeah.
That is such a great scene. I had a board game that was based off of just that scene.
What?
Yeah,
What board game?
it's like a Toy Story board game. It's basically like, have you ever played like those like piranha shark games or whatever, where you just kind of roll a dice, see how far you can make it. If you roll the bad one, you lose. It was
No.
basically like that, but you just move across like this little piece of cardboard. Got from Toys R Us one year.
How cute.
Aw.
It's just, is it just pylons or are
Yeah,
like the
they're-
toys in there?
There's pylons. It's like not like a very like fantastic looking thing. Like I remember not being very like enthralled with it as a kid. Basically, you're trying to make it like all the way across. It's like that one mini game in Mario Party with the chain chomp.
Did you pick it up or did like
My
someone
mom
buy it?
got it for me.
I think they lied to you. I think they got pylons from other toys.
Oh yeah, no, they just like my mom
Here's
just
the game for you.
my mom just made a mishmash
Yeah.
of shit on the floor.
That's why I didn't come up with
Absolutely.
any actual Toy Story
Yeah,
toys.
right. Yeah, that scene's really fucking cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like when Ham gets hit and like all his like coins fall out.
He goes, "Don't look." He
yeah.
has his quirk out.
When he's in Al's toy barn, his coins also fall out. He's like,
Yeah.
"Don't look at my quirk."
I like cause I like when they're walking and they're like everyone's like exhausted and stuff and like Mr. Head's like rubbing his plastic feet, goes like, my paws are barking, and then
Yeah.
like you have like Mr. Then you have Ham who's like, yeah, so I was carrying $6 in change over here,
Yeah.
and then you have Slink who's like, oh my god, who's behind? He goes, mine, and his like ass is walking in,
Yeah.
and it sits. But probably the best part of the movie, hands down, no argument, the ending credits where we get all the bloopers.
Yeah.
They're so good.
That was such like a clever idea
Yeah.
too.
Was that the first time they did that?
And probably the last. I don't know if they did bloopers for that ones.
Lion King had bloopers, right?
Oh, I was talking about for Toy Story.
No, I mean like I guess in
Yeah.
general, like cartoon movies.
Oh yeah, maybe, but
Yeah.
Toy Story 2 is like that song that really sticks out to
They
me.
started the trend for sure.
So there were two that I don't think were in it. Was when Woody falls in the tape. Was that in it?
Yeah, that was in it.
Yeah,
That was in it.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that.
That's
one.
the very first one.
Oh, okay. And then when Stinky Pete's like soliciting those two Barbie dolls to be like, "Hey, I could get you in Toy Story 3 if
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
got cut, right?
It
yeah,
did.
that got cut. 'Cause-
Yeah.
That's pretty risque.
Yeah, because
That-
we watched it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right.
So that shit got cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get the two Barbies with Stinky Pete.
No, I think that was cut in a lot of releases though.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's cut in like the 4K and like a bunch of other ones.
Damn.
No kidding.
I wonder
Yeah.
why. I don't know.
I mean,
I know why, but I don't know. I think it's a funny little scene.
so I wanted to ask you before we like wrap this up. Did you miss what's his name? The singer from the first movie?
The singer.
Yeah, the one who made like "You Got a Friend in Me" and all of them.
Randy Newman?
Yeah, did you miss Randy Newman's songs?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I think because I associate him with the entire franchise of Toy Story.
Yeah.
But here he's like only really he only makes like the soundtrack for one, right?
He did.
Does he come
Jesse's
back?
song with.
Oh, he does. Oh, okay. I
yeah.
guess I miss his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was in this movie, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
No, they sing "You Got a Friend in Me" twice, both different versions though.
Yeah, it's like the remix.
Yeah.
And then you get like the orchestral like reprise of it, and that's
Yeah.
about it during the movie.
Yeah.
I think that's what also I missed that made Toy Story feel like a better movie because it felt more cohesive. All like the parts in Toy Story when it hits for me, and I think that's because of Randy Newman's music. Versus this one didn't have those moments for me. I like Woody's Roundup. I don't like Jesse's song, and I think that's it, right? There's only like those two songs in the movie.
Yeah, those are the two like song, and then we got Wheezy singing at the end.
But I didn't even like it when they sing that one, it kind of loses the charm of the original like version of that song.
Yeah, it feels more like just like this is like a cover, you know. Like,
Yeah, like
and like sometimes you like them, sometimes you don't. I don't know. For me, I liked it because like Wheezy comes back and he has like this amazing voice
Yeah.
all of a sudden. Like it's funny.
like for me, Toy Story 2 didn't have that moment where Woody and Buzz are flying in the air and they're like, "Buzz, you can fly."
For me, that's when Woody's telling Jesse that we're gonna that we're gonna live finally the last episode of Woody's Roundup.
It doesn't hit at the same.
Oh, see,
time.
I think it does for
Yeah,
me.
I agree.
Because Jesse's like the gung ho character, and then she's too scared to do something, and now Woody has to be that character for her. You know, be like the big brother to the sister kind of thing.
No, I get that. I think I was expecting to feel something.
I guess
Rewatching
you're just
this.
heartless.
No, I'm not. Because the Toy Story 2 is like the only one in the series that I actually dislike.
Gotcha.
I like the other ones, but I tried liking this one twice because I rewatched this 2 times. and I like it more the second time, but I don't know. I guess I'll go more into it later, but it just it doesn't hit the same beats for me.
I'll give it to you. Everyone has their own opinion and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like I've been thinking even about 4. Like, I think they all kind of hit the mark of passing at least. But like 2, I don't know. There's something about it. Just kind of like charts up there into like 90s.
I don't know. Maybe it's also like 2 was overplayed for me. It's like that was the one that was played the most. I'm like over it.
That's what Mia said. Like after we watched it too, she thought it was like very overplayed.
Oh yeah, no, I saw it a lot as a kid. I was expecting like not to enjoy it a whole lot, but I enjoyed it quite a bit watching it again as an adult. But yeah, I got to a point as a kid where I'm like, oh, I don't really want to watch this again. I've already seen it 20 times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like our friend with Back to the Future. Like you've seen it so many times that you hate it at this point.
Yeah, and then when you hear someone like hates like a beloved film, you're like, what?
Yeah.
So like I get it. I do get it.
Well, I will say like the one thing I did like about that ending scene is like most movies when something happens the next scene over you're like unexplainable. They just like arrive back home in time. But I like how this one it pans out and you see that they took like the luggage like car.
And then like the neighbors come out like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So they stole something.
That's something I didn't pay attention to as a kid, but I found really funny.
Yeah.
Agreed. It never caught on to it.
The toys are just a menace in this movie.
Oh,
they
totally.
cause like a major pile up. Steal multiple vehicles.
I know. I don't remember the car scene being as intense as it was. I feel like I like it even more for that.
Yeah. I bet if they panned out on the street after they lose that gigantic cylinder, I bet someone died.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Someone got brutally injured or like died. And the fact that little plastic toys that no one believes are sentient except Sid caused it, I think is really funny.
It's kind of got that like slapstick classic like Tom and Jerry like kind of violence where it's totally outrageous but you don't
imitatable violence.
Yeah, literally.
So do you guys have any other points that you guys want to make before we go into our final thoughts in trivia?
No, I think we talked about everything.
Okay, well, let's Woody's round up the segment and go on break really fast, all right? Welcome back to the trivia section of the show. All right, guys, so I have some trivia for you. So, for the scene where Woody looks at all the merch for the Woody's Roundup, mock-ups of the toys were shown to Tom Hanks in the recording booth. So, all of those like reactions were his like spontaneous initial reactions to all those toys.
Oh, like the snake in the boot and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like they recorded all of them. He's like, "Oh, look at this," and I'm like, "Oh, look at that." Like they showed him all these like the mock-ups and stuff, so he could get like genuine reactions.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I love that.
There was some discussion with regard to the song "When She Loved Me," and its place in the film. Randy Newman expressed concern over whether or not young children would be able to sit through a 3-minute ballad while both Tim Allen and Tom Hanks admitted to being moved to tears by the scene featured in the song.
That's why I think it's more of like an adult movie
Yeah.
because that scene like really draws me to that because only like a kid that's growing up like would get that feel.
Yeah. It always bored me. I'm not. Randy Newman was fearful about me. Like 3 minutes, Jesus Christ!
It is a little long.
It's so long,
but it does hit all the notes though, like pretty well.
Even as a kid, I don't know, maybe just because I was like very into like music growing up and stuff like that. Like even the musical portion, like I liked the music a lot, and it always made me very sad, even as a kid.
Yeah, I was touched by the story as a kid. I don't know. I was really sentimental towards my toys as a child, so
I was too, but I don't know. That song just didn't hit for me.
Okay, that's fair.
It didn't slap, as the
No.
kids would say.
So while driving around Al's toy barn, the gang drives down the Buzz Lightyear aisle. Tour guide Barbie tells them, back in 1995, short-sighted retailers did not order enough dolls to meet demand. This is an in-joke and a fact. When the original Toy Story was released, toy sellers did not think the movie would be a hit, and they indeed did not order enough dolls to keep up with the demand. The joke is also a self-deprecating dig at Mattel Toys, which denied use of the Barbie character in the first film, thinking it would be a flop.
Wow, that's so petty.
Yeah.
I do like always hearing about like when I talk to like parents and stuff like that, how like back in like the 90s, how they had to like fight for toys and stuff like that. So my brother was a big Ninja Turtles fan, big, and he wanted this like karate chopping Michelangelo, and my mom found one in the store. It was the last one. She didn't have the money on her. She like forgot her wallet at home or something. She's like, fuck. So she took it and she hid it behind like baby clothes or something, like very like low value items or whatever that people were not going to do. Ran home, got the wallet, prayed that it was there. Got back, still there.
Oh, wow.
And so like to this day, whenever I see like toys or other merchandise hidden behind other ones, I'm always like, someone's coming back for this.
Yeah.
And I hope it's still there for them.
I'm that guy that's like, I want that. And I'll buy it.
Me too.
I have done it before. I did buy a pack of Pokemon cards that were stuffed behind somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, someone was coming back for this. And I kind of feel bad, but, you know, snooze, you lose.
I've done that with like so many things where like when you're like clothes shopping and you see a shirt you like and you're like, oh man, my size is missing. So you're like wandering around and you go down the other aisle and you're like, hey, the shirt of my size.
Right, it's
Someone
like-
hid it.
Yeah, it's tucked in somewhere else. Yeah. I've
Someone
seen
hid
that.
it just for me.
Working retail, I've worked with coworkers that just like used to pick up items and bring them into the back and wait until we would do sales on seasonal items to then bring them out and get discounts. And I was like, you are the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, when I worked at a grocery store and it was our break, we would just like get our box cutter, make a slice and bag of chips, and be like, "Oh, this is open," and we would just get our Sharpie and mark it down to like 65 cents.
I know so many people used to do that at work.
Here's another fact for you guys. When Jessie first meets Woody, she exclaims, "Sweet mother of Abraham Lincoln." Abraham Lincoln's mother was Nancy Hanks, a blood relative of Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is a direct descendant of an uncle of Nancy Hanks.
Oh.
How
Yeah.
about that?
And Jesse knew.
And Jessie knew. When you guys might have noticed this, but when Ham is flipping through the channels looking for the Alice Toy Barn commercial,
It's the Pixar shorts.
yeah, all the other station show clips from the shorts.
That's right.
Oh, he was going too fast for me.
Oh, really? Yeah, you saw like the really creepy baby in
Playing
one of
with
them.
that, like,
Yeah.
the toy that we get put the rings on.
Yeah. Oh man, Ham
Yeah.
was the best button masher ever.
Yeah, it has like old shorts. It also has a logo for the next computer, developed by Pixar's CEO Steve Jobs, and there's a few clips of Pixar's television commercials, and a brief image of their old logo. So when the toys are playing cards during Woody's nightmare, after he's being shelved, all the cards are the Ace of Spades, which represents death and fortune telling.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I know. I remember you brought that up earlier, but I didn't know that was the meaning. That's kind of spooky.
That's shocking. Damn, that's awesome. That's a really cool little like Easter egg right there that only witch girls would know about.
Yeah.
Only them crystal girls, I'll tell you.
See, I just thought they didn't feel like designing the other 51 decks in the card, or 51 cards in a deck.
Right.
And here's one of my final bits of trivia for you guys. Despite a clear obsession with Woody's Roundup, Al never actually says the name Woody or the names of the Roundup gang at any point in the movie.
I can see that. Yeah, you're right. He does not.
It never says Woody or...
Because he views them as dollar bills and not as toys.
That's right.
So, let's start with our final thoughts.
You should just go first.
I don't want to go first.
You should just go first.
You have
Why?
the spiciest of
Yeah.
takes.
Truly.
Because I feel like us three will all be grouped in together.
Oh, fine. All right.
Everyone point and laugh.
Okay. Toy Story 2. Where do I begin? Okay, so right off the bat, I will say, do I think it's a good movie? I think it's an okay movie. I don't think it's terrible. But I don't enjoy it myself. I respect it for what it is and like what it's like raw. I think some of the jokes are funny. I do enjoy some of the sequences, but I personally don't like it, and I'm okay with never seeing this movie ever again.
Okay.
I gave it like 2 honest tries to actually like it again, and I was expecting something like Toy Story 1 where I would rewatch it and be like, oh yeah, I actually do enjoy this movie and I want to buy it. Toy Story 2 was like, I can live without it. So I don't think I will add it in the collection. Like, I'm okay with, like, having all the other Toy Story movies and not having Toy Story 2.
What if you just, like,
Whoa.
got a collection of all 4? Would you purposely pull 2 out?
I wouldn't take it out,
Okay.
but I wouldn't, like,
But,
go
like,
out of
you
my way
wouldn't
to watch
singly
it.
buy this one?
No.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you were gifted this movie, you would keep it in your collection.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go out and buy it.
Okay.
Like, if I had the other 3 and someone, like, gifted me this one, I'm like, fine. It'll be aesthetically pleasing to, like, complete the set.
Would you keep it if it was a DVD?
No.
But you would keep it if it was a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I might not.
No, gotcha.
I
And
wish...
is this a movie you would want, like, let's say if you had kids, would
Mhm.
you want your future kids to see this movie, or would you be like, get this corn out of my face?
I would, like, I'm interested if showing someone Toy Story 1 and skipping Toy Story 3, how impactful that is.
You mean
Or-
2?
Yeah, I mean, skipping Toy Story 3. It's like skipping Toy Story 2
Oh,
altogether.
skipping from 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm curious if, like, you show this to a child and you show them those 2 movies back to back.
I think it would depend on their age.
Let's say, like, a
And, like,
6-year-old.
how much they like Toy Story 1.
6-year-old, never seen any of the other movies before. So you kind of, like, marathon it with them.
Yeah. And but you skip 2.
Yeah, you
Maybe
skip
save
2.
2 for the last.
No, you, like...
You just, like, completely ruin the continuity of what's happening.
Well, it doesn't matter because, like, in Toy Story 2, characters get introduced that weren't introduced in Toy Story 1.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you see Toy Story 3 and you see these new characters, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
something happened.
I feel like to a kid, you could show them any order of this. You know, if they're
Yeah.
young, and it's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
They'll gloss over, like, the important parts, quotes around those.
Yeah, because I think Toy Story 2, just because it is so close after Toy Story 1 in, like, story-wise, it doesn't... I feel like it doesn't impact the story as much. It almost feels like a filler episode, to a point. Where, like, you get some extra characters introduced. But, like, nothing happens in the plot where it's so impactful, like in Toy Story 1 or in Toy Story 3.
Interesting enough for me is that I think... So, like, Toy Story 1 ends where they're all kind of like, kumbaya, until the next toy gets kind of added into the collection. But then, like, nothing too big happens, and they all kind of, like, live together in harmony. And then, like, this event kind of, like, everyone gets kind of disrupted.
Yeah.
And then we don't see the toys for, like, 10 years.
Yeah.
Until Toy Story 3 in 2010. And shit is, spoiler, very different for them. You know, like, a lot of time has passed. So, like, going from, like, after talking about, like, 1 and 2, how close they are together, kind of, like, you know, like, there were parts where I was like, wait a minute, I thought that was in 1. Oh,
Yeah.
that's in 2. And then, like, when you go to 3, you're like, oh, my God. Yeah, this is a completely separate adventure. Because, like, they, like, move away from, like, Andy's room almost completely.
Yeah, I've heard lots of people say that Toy Story 2 feels more like a movie than Toy Story 1. But I feel like it's the opposite for me. I feel like Toy Story 1 feels like a movie. Toy Story 2 feels like an experiment that didn't fully mesh out well for me.
Oh, I thought you were just going to say, like, one of them feels like a show.
No, it just feels like it feels like it was meant to be a direct-to-video movie, and that's how I actually view it. I don't view it as impactful as Toy Story 1. I view it as, like, something that's, like, if you skip it, you're not going to miss too much.
I feel like you will.
Yeah,
I don't know. Because, like, nothing happens. Like, it's not like when Buzz gets introduced, it changes Woody. When, like, Jesse and Bullseye get introduced, nothing really changes. They still act the same.
I feel like it's impactful because, like, in 3, Andy goes to college. And now, like, Woody has to realize that, like, this is his Emily moment, you know? Like, and then, like, all the toys are going to get, like, abandoned or donated and stuff like that. So like kind of like hearing about it from Jesse and living out like the last couple of years of like being playthings for Andy and stuff like that, you know, kind of hits more home when you get to 3. So that's kind of how I feel. I feel like the characters definitely had stuff to like work on.
Yeah.
To kind of go into 3. Because going from 1 to 3, you don't have that like idea of being forgotten and abandoned. But that's the whole point of like 2 is like the contrast of being forgotten by your owner or loved by a generation in a museum.
Yeah, but if I had to give my final rating for Toy Story 2, I would say Toy Story 1, it's a good movie, 8 out of 10. Toy Story 2, it's an okay movie, 6.5 out of 10. And that's my like rating right now. So let's move on. Mia, you give me your review. Give me your final thoughts on Toy Story 2.
Oh, okay. So when I watched Toy Story 2 recently, 2 days ago, I believe, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. Like, I haven't seen the movie since I was a child, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I feel like I might enjoy it a little bit more now than when I was a kid. I like it. I would put it in my collection. How about you, Nadia?
So personally, Nick and I actually watched this movie during quarantine. I think we watched it in like 2020. And that was the first time both of us, as Toy Story 2 lovers, watched it together and we're like, oh my god. We quoted the entire movie, I think, together the whole time. So like watching it again a couple years later, it still holds very true. And I don't know if it just, like watching it in like a group setting again, like watching it with everybody, it just reminded me how like being like a kid again. We all had ice cream too, despite it being quarantined and everything. We all had like an ice cream together, and I just felt like a kid watching it again. But I still was able to like kind of go through like my adult experiences of just being like, wow, like I really do miss having like those toys and like the simple life, you know what I mean? And I am more like on like the collector side of this now, so it's kind of, it was like a totally different perspective. But long story short, still a phenomenal movie. 9.5 out of 10 for me. How about you, Nick?
What was your score, Mia?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't give it a rating. I guess I would give it an 8.5. I thought it was fun too.
All right, Nick.
Well, I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10.
Shut up.
You're
giving it a 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
Good.
Because of just the connection I have with the movie, and even the parts I don't really like care about and stuff like that, or like some things are like, oh, you can't explain this or whatever. I don't know. I could probably watch this movie like again and again and love it. I love so much about this movie. And maybe because it is like the ADD or like the like partial like thing in my brain that's just like firing crazy when this movie's on, that like all I think about, just like how you said, Nadia, like you feel like a kid again, and like that's this movie for me. And I feel like I always want to hold on to that. So like I'll always have this movie in like a good light. I'll never be able to look at it and be like cynical towards it. I'll point out like the flaws and the stupid stuff, but like personally, because of how much I love this movie, I could look past it. Kind of like, you know, when your kid does something bad, you could look past it because like you love them unconditionally. Toy Story 2 is my child. And I will always love them with my full honest heart. I will say when they do bad, they do bad. But I'll always love it unconditionally with my heart.
See, Toy Story 2 is like my middle child.
Lonely and forgotten.
Yeah. Toy Story 1 is like, you did good, kid. Toy Story 3 is like, oh, there you are.
So there is one thing I do want to say going into the ending of the episode for the next episode is I want to keep in my mind at the end of the Toy Story 2, Andy buffs out Woody's arm. Do they keep it in Toy Story 3? I just had this thought like a couple minutes ago.
No, I would assume
Because we have a
not.
continuity error in this movie moving from 1 to 2. Because they lose RC's remote control in Toy Story 1. But they have it in 2. It is a children's movie. But
Okay, when does RC show up?
at the very
Very
beginning.
beginning, yeah.
Remember we
Oh,
made
Andy's playing with them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we're like, the remote. He has the remote. So I want to know if they would make another small little error
Mm-hmm.
with Woody not having his big muscle.
Maybe. You know what I do like about that? I like how he has a big muscle, but he also has different color stitching.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like red.
Nothing to look out for. I think going in, I am starting to remember Toy Story 3 a bit more. And that one might be like close contender to be the best.
I think so. I think Toy Story 3 is
Because I remember, I'm starting to remember more and more, and I'm like, that's actually like a really good like movie.
Yeah.
I love 3.
I think Toy Story 3, I mean, we'll get to it next week, but I will say Toy Story 3 perfected everything that 2 tried to do, and it perfected everything that 1 established.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
it hit home the idea of change, which is like what 1 and 2 are trying to portray. The
Yeah.
idea of change and like
'Cause
mortality.
Because I feel like 1 and 2, the idea of like the whole like symbolism of change inside toys and kids and stuff like that, it's definitely like a slower growth in 1 and 2 because not a lot of time really passes.
Mhm.
But in 3 we get that huge jump
Yeah.
to when Andy's like a 10-year-old boy to a 18, 19-year-old
Yeah.
man, you know. So maybe still boy, I don't know,
Young
but like
man.
young man. And it's like, you know, because like when that movie came out, I was just getting in high school. So I wonder how many kids grew up with Toy Story 1 and 2 and now they're in college when Toy Story 3 came out. Like that must have been crazy.
See, Toy Story 3 was such a good movie that someone who grew up not really liking Toy Story and hating Toy Story 2 appreciated Toy Story 3 to the point where it made me cry. And it actually moved me. Even though I didn't like the 2 before it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'll say I think I do tear up more at 3.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because in between Toy Story 2 and 3, Pixar got their shit together. And like they were able to like portray actual emotions and like move people.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely excited to watch 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I really want to talk about with Toy Story 2. I think we hit all our notes.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. It was fun having guests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed being on too. I like discussing. I like talking.
Yeah. It is interesting. I feel like I'm slightly disappointed in myself. I really wanted to like this movie. I was like hoping that part of me was gonna be like, yeah, I love Toy Story 2 now. But I was like, that never happened, and I was like really upset, and that's why I watched it twice.
I don't know. I thought you were gonna come into here and you're gonna like take your pants down and shit on Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
hard.
I think you
And-
know honestly, when I was at work, that was what I was gonna do, and then rewatching it made me not hate it as much.
Yeah. So like that was definitely because like the thing was I was like, oh man, I hope he just thinks it's like an okay movie. Like
Yeah.
that's like the like. So my question for you is did anything Mia, Nadia, or I say influence how you view the movie?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. That's
I-
fair. That's fair.
It's all right.
I feel like
I think you pointing out some of the flaws made me love the movie just a little bit more.
Really?
Which is kind of hilarious.
I think listening to you guys talk about some of the parts made me realize how much I didn't like those parts. Because I was like, oh yeah, I hate when that happens. I hate everything at Al's Toy Barn.
You do?
No,
Yeah.
not Al's Toy Barn, Al's apartment.
I was gonna say you just talked about how you love
No,
that
I
part.
love Al's Toy Barn.
Wow.
Wow.
It's on record.
Maybe it's because as an adult, as a child you're Andy, as an adult you become Al.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because you're a collector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a collector.
Yeah.
So they betrayed you in the wrong light, is what you're
No,
saying.
they portrayed Al in the right light. I wish I had a one-trip ticket to Japan and made my fortune selling my collection, but I collect the wrong shit. And this movie just taught me I have to look out for whole sets now,
There you
and
go.
be able to trade those in.
Maybe one day you'll have a Roundup gang to call your own to sell it to Mr. Takahasha in Japan.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll get a Woody's Roundup. All right, well that was Toy Story 2. Join us next week as we talk about Toy Story 3, possibly the best Toy Story. I don't know. If you like the episode or you like what you hear, please rate and review us wherever you listen to your podcast. Anything you want to add, Nick?
I think that might be it for me.
All right. Well, as always, I'm your host, Ish.
I'm Nick.
I'm Nadia.
And I'm Mia.
All right. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye now.